What's going on, guys? So everybody wants to know what it's like to be a YouTube creator. To a lot of folks, it's the job they aspire for. It's what they end up wanting to be whenever they grow up, or if they are grown up and they have a hobby or something they love doing. Being a YouTube creator is one of those things that is what's on their bucket list, right? Things that you might want to accomplish in life. Well, I want to make videos on YouTube and I want to get paid to do it. So this video is to help educate some folks on what that process looks like, what that path is, and do YouTube creators really get everything for free? That's probably a big question a lot of people have on their mind as well. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Okay, so we're inside of the shop, a little quieter in here, and yeah, continuing this topic, a lot of folks want to get into creating videos on YouTube, and they don't really know where to start. And my first piece of advice, if that's what you're wanting to do, because believe it or not, I have a lot of friends and family that of course know what I do, and they have cousins and brothers and sisters and nephews that want to get into creating YouTube videos. And what it typically kind of consists of are, the younger you are, the more you want to get into things like video games and things like that, and you want to create, you know, these videos of you playing games and people watching that. And I can't really give you any feedback on that because that's an industry that I'm not tied into. I know that there are literally tens of millions of kids, teenagers, and even adults that are creating that type of content. So if I would imagine any place in YouTube that's saturated with people doing it, I would imagine that gaming is probably the one. Now, what am I familiar with? Well, if you have a craft, if you have something you enjoy doing, if you have a hobby, and that hobby can teach somebody how to do something better or answer a question for them, and you feel as if you're somewhat proficient in that space, and the best way to kind of qualify that is, do people like listening to you? Right? When you're at family events or when you're with your friends, do they all kind of gather around while you talk about something, and do you hold their interest long enough for them to get something out of the content that you're talking to them about, right? So let's say you're into repairing cars. If you can talk about repairing cars in a way that the people around you really enjoy what you're saying, you're credible, and you have experience in that field, then you could probably start a YouTube channel and start growing it, because as long as a topic that you talk about is something that relates to people and what they may be seeking or looking for, well, you'll probably build some type of an audience. Now, I have no way of knowing how large that audience would be or where it will eventually grow to, but you can see a lot of YouTube creators who have only been doing it for a short period of time and have a pretty solid following because they're talking about something that people are interested in, and they have experience and knowledge in that field. So for me, when I first got into this, I was really talking about trucks. I would do some really interesting videos where I'd go out to dealership lots, I'd get underneath trucks, and I'd measure like the frame thickness. I would measure all sorts of different things. I'd look at the frame coating. I'd look at all sorts of specs that typically, in my opinion, were left out of other videos. And I would start talking about it. I would start making content and educating myself more and more on this stuff. The RV content didn't come until later. And as my channel started to grow, and when I got to 1,000 subscribers, it blew my world away. For me to believe that I could get to that number of subscribers, that number of people who actually cared about the content I put out, was humbling to me. Something you may or may not know about me, I had a big self-worth issue growing up. I didn't feel as if I was worth a lot. I didn't feel as if I mattered. And when you grow up that way, it can lead to depression, and you deal with depression while you're going through that. So these are things that I struggled with growing up. These are things that always plagued me. And to be able to create YouTube content and actually have people who care about what I talk about, it's a really humbling, it's a very special and a very exciting feeling for me. It makes me feel as if I have worth. And believe it or not, there's a lot of people that suffer with this. There really is. And a lot of folks who tend to be more technically minded suffer with this when they're younger. At least that's what the research says, because they feel as if they're talking about things in a way that nobody really cares about. Nobody really has that type of interest when you're growing up. And as you start to develop that, as you get older and older and older, is really where the things that you talk about matter to more people as they grow up or as they're older, if that makes sense. So for me, talking about trucks, talking about bikes, talking about tools, talking about tractors, all that stuff, it kind of comes natural to me, because if I'm sitting in a room with a bunch of other people, I can find one of these topics to talk about, or they can bring it up, and I can just go on forever. I think most of you guys realize that if you've been watching my channel for a while. For some reason, the group of people that I tend to have the most interesting conversations with are pilots. It's just a really interesting thing. I have a lot of pilot friends, either military pilots or commercial pilots or private aviation pilots, and we can just go on talking about stuff that has nothing to do with aeronautics, but it is focused on tractors or RVs or bikes or a number of other things, and we can just go on talking and talking and talking forever about it. So diving back into the topic that this video is about, because I can ramble on about all sorts of things. You know, whenever you have that passion, you have the gift of gab, you can just talk about things that are passionate to you and relatable to other people, you should start filming about it if you can. You should pull out the camera. Everybody has a video camera on their phone now, and you have free access to YouTube. You can publish videos, and pretty soon you'll find out if how you communicate, what you say, resonates with people. And if it does, you'll start growing a channel. Now, a lot of people want to know, when you're a YouTuber, is just everything given to you for free? Well, it's a hard question to answer, because it depends what you define as free. So if a manufacturer of a product or something wants to send a YouTuber something, it's because they believe that the ROI, the return on investment, by sending that product to this creator is going to be more than the product is valued for, of course. So let's just say a mountain bike company like that Truxus mountain bike, right? They believe that if they send something like that to a creator, that, you know, even though that's a $4,000 bike, that, you know, at least that's what they sell it for, it's probably, you know, $2,000 worth of parts, labor, and everything else. But they believe that what they have invested into that bike is going to be given back to them in terms of their investment by providing it to a YouTuber to feature, especially one who specifically talks about bikes and talks about things like that, because you want that credibility, you want that knowledge of the person who is talking about it at least understands the product and is going to talk about it in the right way. Now, the question people often ask is, well, can you be fair and unbiased as a creator if somebody sends you a product and doesn't charge you for that product? Okay, so when you're a small channel, this is just something to throw out there, and I know a lot of the smaller YouTube channel creators are going to be able to know this, resonate with it, and understand this. You start getting reached out to by companies that want you to feature their product probably when you get to about 1,000 subscribers. As your channel grows, the number of inquiries from companies that want to feature something on your channel grows tremendously. What you do as a creator is what determines your ethics, your credibility, and your integrity. And what I mean by that is, when a company reaches out to you, a lot of times they use a marketing firm. They don't actually reach out to you directly. Their marketing firm will reach out and say, this is so-and-so, I represent these brands, and they have an interest in having this product, and they might send you an Amazon link to it, they might send you a website link to it, they might send you YouTube videos from other creators who they've worked with. They want to feature this product on your channel. How much are you going to charge plus the product to have it featured? That's a very, very common template that a YouTuber might receive. So let's say, for instance, it's a battery bank. Well, battery banks are really important to YouTubers because we know that a lot of folks are either moving away from using gas generation and they want to use a battery that can store power from solar, and they can use that. So that's really, really a common thing. And I probably get nearly 300 battery power bank manufacturers that reach out to me each month asking me to feature their product, offering to pay me to feature their product, or providing some type of financial benefit, such as commission or something like that. And if you watch my channel, you'll see I feature very, very, very few battery power banks on my channel. So out of the 300 or so I get a month, or requests, I might feature maybe one every 3 months. Why? So I know that the financial benefit to my channel would be remarkable if I took every opportunity to make money off of products that people opted to send me, but I don't. I only feature products that I think my viewers actually care about. I do not go overboard and feature every possible product that is presented to me. I turn down easily 99.999% of everything that is offered to me on my channel. But there's always going to be people out there that believe YouTubers are full of it, that we are beholden to the companies that send us products. And this is where I talk to people about understanding what a YouTube creator typically is and where they come from. Understanding that we get into this just wanting to create content, and by the time our channels grow to a certain size, the content we create makes us a valuable partner to companies who want to try to sell stuff. We get that. Your credibility comes into play when you start understanding that you are not a Fortune 500 YouTube creator, that almost no YouTuber that does this is a multi-millionaire because of it, that we're beholden to the YouTube algorithm, that we understand that if we sling too much stuff towards you guys, if we talk about too much stuff, you'll lose interest in us, or you'll think that we're a sham or a shill, or you think that we'll just be pushing products on you that you don't need or don't want. And the reality behind creating content on YouTube is to do it in a way that you love doing it, that you're providing honest, credible, and real information to people, and that you also understand that you can go broke doing YouTube if you specifically go out and say, hey, I want to review this bike. You know what? I don't want there to be any financial benefit to me at all, so I'm going to go out and spend $4 grand on a bike so I can review it. Maybe not something I even really want. I mean, I have a super expensive bike that I paid a lot of money for right there. Why do I really want this bike? And that's the key behind it. Understanding, do I really want to have a whole stack of suspension parts up there? No, I don't. Do I really want to have shelves of stuff here loaded with stuff that I've reviewed and I'm still reviewing and I'm doing for long-term reviews just to take up space in a shop that is limited on space? No, I don't. These are things that I review because I think my viewers, my subscribers, the people that are looking for information would find value in understanding my opinion, my thoughts on a specific product. And again, if you watch my videos, you'll see that I criticize a lot about products that are even sent to me. I criticize a lot about sponsored content. I criticize a lot. I don't try to conceal it. That's where the integrity comes in. Whenever you get those emails from these companies, these manufacturers saying, we want to provide this for you, the contract that goes along with it is the key. Understanding what you can and can't do is super important. And you want to know what I can do. When I get that contract, I can kick it back and say, I do not sign these types of contracts. And I do that every single time. I say I work on a handshake agreement with you understanding that I am going to provide an honest, credible, and ethical review of whatever product this is. And if you don't agree with it, then I'm sorry, but I will not work with your company. I will not do business with a company that will not work with me in a way that allows me the creative freedom to talk about the products that are provided to me. Just will not happen. And any company who has worked with me knows that that's what I do. They know that that's part of it, that's part of the email, and you have no idea how many huge contracts have been kicked back with tons of money attached to them simply because I refused to work with a company who forces you to sign this contract that makes you only say good things about them. That is not what I will do, that is not what I will ever do, and any company that I've worked with can verify that. I'm going to provide an honest, credible review of what this product is, and that's what I do. So whenever you watch my channel and you see something that may have been provided, you see a part, you see several things, understand that this is the area that determines the credibility of the creator. First of all, saying that yes, this was provided to me, that's clear. And then once it's provided to you, actually going back and giving real reasons why you like the product, real reasons why you may not like the product, things that you think should be done differently, But then honestly understand that everyone is different and unique. And then whenever you're talking about products, that you need to understand you're not the only one who may be buying this thing. You have to talk about it in a way that is unbiased, that makes sense, and you're trying to look at both sides of it. If I only had this bike and I was only talking to folks who would buy a bike like that, that would not be fair, because this bike has a different purpose for a lot of folks than a bike like that. So I can't just go into it thinking, well, I have a $14,000 Cannondale right there that's been super souped up and has all these aftermarket expensive components on it, because that thing I need to be able to trust to go downhill on it anywhere. Well, that's not the rider that's going to buy this. And if I only present this bike against something like that, it's not going to make sense. And I do that with everything. I understand that everyone's different, and everyone's going to have different views on what they're looking at, what they're reviewing, and I'm always trying to give an honest and ethical approach to that. And the people that know me personally, the businesses that I work with, the RV manufacturers I collaborate with, the component manufacturers, they know exactly how I communicate with them about products. If I absolutely love it, I love what they've done, I think it's brilliant, I think it's a great idea, I will express that. I absolutely will. There's no reason not to. But if I think there's flaws behind it, if I think it needs to be better or improved, or I just don't like something, I always talk about it. And that's the key. And that's what you have to understand if you get into creating YouTube content. Your credibility is on the line, and your integrity is tested every single time a company wants to pay you to feature something or wants to send you something. It's all how you work with that manufacturer to let them know where your integrity is, where your ethics are, and what you're going to actually do versus what they want you to do. So that's where everything kind of lines up. A lot of companies send out stuff. A lot of companies provide stuff. A lot of stuff is turned down. I even think smaller channels probably turn down a bunch of stuff. But at the end of the day, it truly comes down to what you believe your content needs to be about, what you believe your viewers actually care about, and staying ethical, honorable, credible, and holding yourself to a super high level of integrity is absolutely critical and key. And as long as you do that, you post good content, you post content that is somewhat well edited. It doesn't have to be super well edited, but you need to put some effort into that. And you take pride in the work you do, and you take pride in the integrity that you hold yourself to. And in my case, you believe in God. You believe that He sees everything, even if you are trying to hide something from people, you can't hide it from God. And if you live with that in your heart, and you are constantly trying to be better, and you want to be a better person, and you want to prove to God, and you want to prove to others that you're a good person, well, integrity is just going to come with that. That's just how it works. And for me, living with that level of integrity is super important to me. It's critical to me. Even the people who hate my channel, who have probably stopped watching this video a long time ago, if they ever met me in person, we sat down and had coffee together, and they asked me the critical things that are on their mind of why I do things the way I do them, they would probably come away at the end of that sit down thinking, wow, I didn't know that about JD. He's actually a lot more credible. He holds himself to a super high level of integrity and ethics. I just didn't know that he was that kind of person. But then there's some people who probably don't think that. And I can't fix everything. I can't make everyone believe what I want them to believe or what I hope they believe, and I can't change everyone's opinion. So I don't try to. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. A little bit of a behind the curtain view at YouTube and my relationship with YouTube, and some of the things that I think about, some of the things I know my viewers sometimes think about. But again, it all comes down to integrity, credibility, and ethics at the end of the day. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you again very soon.